Hey everyone, and welcome to Drive Steady. Two really big pieces of news were announced today regarding the 2021 Toyota Supra. First is that there will be a new 2-liter 4-cylinder engine introduced, and the even bigger news is that the existing 3-liter is going to get a huge power bump and additional revisions to its suspension. How much power bump exactly? Stick around and I'll tell you about it. So there are a lot of new changes coming to the 2021 Toyota Supra, so let's go through the big one first, and that's the power bump the 3-liter is going to get. The 2020 Supra came with 335 horsepower and 365 foot-pounds of torque. The 2021 Supra is going to be bumped up to 382 horsepower and 368 foot-pounds of torque, which is a difference of 47 horsepower and 3 extra foot-pounds of torque over the 2020 model. Toyota states that they were able to increase the power due to several upgrades, such as new dual branch exhaust manifolds with 6 ports instead of 2 to improve heat management. Also, a new piston design that reduces the engine's combustion ratio from 11:1 to 10.2:1. Toyota estimates that the 2021 Supra equipped with a 3-liter will accelerate to 60 in 3.9 seconds compared to the 2020 model, which did it in 4.1. The 8-speed transmission, however, remains unchanged. Now, this is really interesting because it's really rare to see a car come out and the following year receive such a big power bump. Typically, you see this type of increase spread over several years, but that's what happens when you source engines from BMW. And remember, BMW uses the same engine in the Z4M, and now with this power bump, both the Supra and the Z4M have the same horsepower and torque. I guess this is great for those that waited, but not good for those that jumped on the first model year, and it seems like the extent of the changes to the engine are mechanical and cannot be easily introduced into the 2020 model, for example using an ECU tune from your local Toyota dealer. Anyway, the extent of the changes don't stop there for the 3-liter. It's going to get some revised suspension tuning as well. The 2021 model retuned the Supra's chassis, adding lightweight aluminum braces that tie the strut tower to the radiator support, which increases lateral rigidity. They also added new front and rear bump stops and a new tune to the dampers. Revised programming was applied to the electronic systems like power steering, vehicle stability controls, and adaptive suspension to work in harmony with the active differential. So again, these changes don't seem to be so small. This is a big upgrade for the Supra. Now, the other interesting news in the 2021 Supra is the introduction of the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. This 4-cylinder has a lot in common with the 3-liter big brother, including the same turbo, the same direct injection, and variable timing systems. The new 2-liter 4-cylinder makes 255 horsepower and 295 foot-pounds of torque, and for those keeping track, the 2-liter will have the same electronically limited 155 mph top speed that the 3-liter has. The interesting item here is that this is basically the same power output from the BMW 2-liter, which makes me think that these two engines are practically the same. Regardless, the 4-cylinder will use the same 8-speed automatic transmission that the 6-cylinder uses and is estimated to accelerate to 60 in 5 seconds flat. Many thought that the 4-cylinder would get a manual transmission, but not for this model year. One of the nicer things about adding a 4-cylinder in the 2021 Supra is that it will be lighter than the 6-cylinder variant, 219 pounds to be exact. All in, the 4-cylinder model comes in at a feathery light 3,181 pounds against the 3,400 in the 6-cylinder trim. In cutting the weight from the Supra, Toyota also maintained a 50-50 weight balance for the 4-cylinder. So you might be asking, how did they do that because the engine sits at the front of the car? Well, Toyota started cutting out weight from different parts of the car to balance out the weight loss from the front. The 2-liter Supra uses smaller front brake rotors versus the 3-liter and has single piston calipers versus the 4-piston found in the 3-liter. Also, the 2-liter doesn't have the active differential or the adaptive suspension the 3-liter has. The 2-liter also has less speakers compared to the 3-liter, 4 against 10. And finally, the seats in the 4-cylinder model are manually adjustable versus the 14-way power seats in the 3-liter. The last bit of exciting news is the introduction of a special edition called the A91. The A91 Edition replaces the Launch Edition that was available in the 2020 model year. The A91 Edition will only be available with the 3-liter 6-cylinder engine, and you can spec it in 2 different colors, Nocturnal and Refraction. Nocturnal is a common color in the Supra lineup, however the refraction blue paint you see here is exclusive to the A91 package, so if you like it, make sure you tick the box for that A91 option. Other items that differentiate the A91 Edition are the rear black carbon fiber lip spoiler, matte black wheels, graphics on the C-pillar, and carbon fiber mirror caps. Staying on the exterior, the A91 Edition will also have the front brake calipers painted in red and feature the Toyota Supra logo. On the interior, the A91 gets leather trim seats with blue contrast stitching, and each A91 Edition will come with 2 exclusive key gloves and a trunk mat. Toyota is going to limit the production of the A91 Edition to 1,000 units for the 2021 model year. The other item that Toyota kind of snuck into this refresh is the fact that all Supras now get an 8.8-inch touchscreen infotainment center. In the 2020 model year, there was a 6.5-inch screen and an optional 8.8-inch screen. In the 2021 model year, the 6.5-inch screen is being discontinued, and you'll only have the 8.8-inch screen in the Supra. So that's another thing the 2020 model year Supra buyers got stumped on. The 2021 Toyota Supra is going to arrive at your local dealership floor in June of 2020. Now the questions I have with all of these revisions to the 3-liter engine is if the price is going to go up. You know that Toyota isn't going to give you 47 horsepower for free. I'll be looking out for the price increase if there is one in the Supra. Second, did the lowering of the engine compression result in the engine redline changing? Typically, when you mess with that, it means the redline changes or introduction of more boost from the turbo or forced induction. Lastly, I'm curious to see what the 4-cylinder sounds like. I've driven the 2-liter in the BMW and it sounds okay, but I wonder how Toyota is going to tune the exhaust for the Supra. I do think that this power bump was inevitable because it was a real head scratcher when the BMW Z4M had more horsepower than the dedicated sports car Supra, and now with this power bump, that's changed to both being equal. The 2021 Supra model seems like what Toyota should have released right from the get-go. I wonder if there was some type of agreement between BMW and Toyota that said BMW would get the higher horsepower in their car, at least for the first year. If I was guessing, I bet this constant refreshing from year to year continues for the Supra, so proceed with a little bit of caution. I bet in the next year or two you see a higher performance model with more horsepower, and another would be the possibility of a manual transmission making its way into the Supra with the 2-liter 4-cylinder model, since the Z4 already has the same engine with a manual transmission today. But all aside, the overall 2021 Supra seems like a real winner, and I can't wait to drive one. What do you think of the upgrade the 2021 model year Supra is going to get? Is it enough for you to finally jump into one? Thanks for watching. Until next time, drive steady.